How you doing, my Druid enjoyers? We're back with the ranks 4 and 5 of the Primal spell list. What are the practical picks? What are some good options? Let's figure that out and load you down with a fun and practical use of spells. Starting with rank 4, right on damage, the flat blunt hammer is what our Primal spell list excels at. And we got a lot of weird options at rank 4. We got Cinder Swarm. This is effectively an upgraded version of rank 2's Acid Grip. This allows you to constantly hit them with a reflex save every round. You sustain it, you do a little more damage, and you force movement. That's 5 feet of movement on a successful save. Every round, breaking their grabs, putting them out of position. A lot of value for those willing to use it, but a little trickier to use. It does have a fortitude save version, but I'm going to be honest, it's incapacitation. It's very specific. I'm not going to bother addressing it. We do a Murderous Vine. Once again, kind of a wacky spell. Targets armor class, so it's not my favorite, but it does do decent damage and grabs an enemy if you hit them. That grab is really nice. That wastes their actions 100% guaranteed as long as you land that hit. Risky, but if you like risk, the payoff is there. And for our big damage lovers, oh, we got Rust Cloud. Rust Cloud is a powerful fortitude save that lasts for a minute. It creates a big zone that does big damage every round. That's all it is. It's just a damage cloud. Now, work with your team to grapple enemies on the edge of the Rust Cloud so your teammate is outside but they're holding someone inside, or shove them back in, or work with your friendly casters to keep them in. For example, consider this. What if you cast Rust Cloud and your buddy casts Wall of Stone at level 9 and seals them into the Rust Cloud? Think about it. Easy win. And speaking of walls, Wall of Fire is pretty nifty. It's a no save spell. They take guaranteed fire damage if they touch the wall. Once again, a great way to grapple enemies and shove them in. Just remember with these damage effects, forced movement, rules as written, technically speaking, forced movement cannot put enemies into these dangerous areas unless it is a shove or pull effect. So, Acid Grip can't move them in. Shove can move them in. Very important to keep in mind, but ooh, that extra damage. Ah, it's so nice. At rank 4, we do see the last of the main buff options for us, the last of the big buffs for the Primal list, and there's some interesting ones. Of particular note, Elemental Gift. This is a pretty complicated one. You pick one of 6 elements to apply one of 6 buffs when you cast it. So all the buffs are weaker than their equivalent spell. Like, you can give someone Fly, but it's not as good as the actual fly spell. Or you can give them swimming, but it's not as good as like actual water breathing. But what's important here is this is versatility. It's a bunch of buff options all in a single spell. That makes it a good scroll, and that makes it amazing for spontaneous casters. Sorcerers out there, consider Elemental Gift. It's a great pick to have a bunch of different solutions in a single pocket. Really nice stuff. Outside of that, Fly is pretty obvious. It lets you fly. That's it. You can solve a ton of problems in life if you can fly. And Mountain Resilience, also known as Stone Skin. This is a great buff. Lasts for 20 minutes and it gives you physical damage resistance to whoever you cast it on. Great for casting before a fight breaks out. 20 minutes is so long, you can predict when you start a fight pretty easily at that rate. What's important is that the duration goes down by 1 minute every time you get hit, as the Stone Skin, the Mountain Resilience, gets knocked off of you, literally chipped away at. So you do have to keep track of the passage of time to use this spell at its best. And last, we have Zephyr Slip, a fantastic reaction. Remember how I said Pyrofoul Rebuke was so good? This is basically a better version. Instead of moving away when you get hit, now you move away when an enemy moves next to you. Super good. They waste well, not waste, but they spend a whole action moving next to you, and you just fly away. They have to spend another action to catch up again. That's nice. Now at rank 4, what we excel at, whereas rank 3 brought us just so much raw power, rank 4 excels at spicy ground. We have some of the strongest effects in the game. First off, airlift, amazing. This is an AoE that moves everyone in the area 60 feet through the air. You throw people through the air and they land safely. What's key is you can move a bunch of allies over a pit or over a cliff or across a chasm. So it's got great utility in the role playing, but also you can throw enemies into areas. That's a lot of double duty value. That's huge value and great in a lot of situations. We got Grasp of the Deep, which is a great will save, which once again, will saves are valuable, right? This is a ranged grab effect that does some damage. We're mostly using it for the grab to pin an enemy in place, force them to waste actions, and a multi-attack penalty. Remember, it uses up their map. It's the same as doing a strike when they try to escape the grab. So that's really good value. And we got Grasping Earth, which is another form of grapple. This creates a zone that does an AoE grapple. And every time you sustain it, it'll do it again. Great for choke point battles. The spicy ground powers of rank 4 are insane. All right. We gotta talk about Stifling Stillness. This spell is everything. It's so good. It's a fortitude save zone that the moment you make it is difficult terrain, and it fatigues everyone in the zone. Remember, they're just fatigued before any saving throw. Like, it doesn't matter what their saving throw is, they're just now fatigued. And it does a little bit of damage, and it applies slowed 1. Now, they can hold their breath to remove the damage slowed effects, but they're still fatigued and they're still in difficult terrain. That's crazy. That's crazy. You put this on a caster, they're forced to leave the zone. They can't even cast spells, or they're just eating the slow effect. That's brutal. Now, it does say you can hold your breath. So we have to define, because I've seen a lot of discussion about this. We have to define holding your breath. What is it? You can hold your breath in the game at any time, but they don't define how. So the question is, what lets you hold your breath? Well, it's a free action, because it's not a reaction to hold your breath. That would imply you couldn't do it on your turn by itself. You would need a trigger to hold your breath, which is silly. That's not how it works, right? Same way, if something pulls you into the water, you have to hold your breath. But is that a reaction or is that a free action? Free actions are defined as something that can be done at any time for free, but only on your turn. This is generally a rule so that you don't waste everyone's time constantly saying, I'm going to do this as a free action when it's someone else's turn and disrupt the game. But it does mean we can do free actions on our turn. You cannot do them on other people's turn unless you have a trigger, unless you have something that causes you to be able to do it as a reaction or for a reason. Stifling Stillness does not say you can hold your breath in response to the spell. My interpretation is therefore that you cannot hold your breath when the spell is cast, because there's nothing saying that you can, and we have proof saying that you can't hold your breath for no given reason for free. Ergo, it's just a guaranteed slowed 1 and fatigued field with a little damage. Does that seem OP? I mean, hey, what's wrong with spells being good? All right, that took forever. Diatribe over. We also have Shapestone. I'll cover it. This is a good control spell. This lets you knock people prone when you move the ground under them, and it lets you open holes in walls and make cover. Really more of a roleplay spell. Consider a scroll, maybe. The main thing is this lets you shape stone. So if there's a stone wall, you can literally open a doorway in it by opening a hole. That's pretty nice. It can be easy to overlook that utility. When it comes to rank 4 scrolls, they are starting to get a little more pricey, so it's a little harder to buy buckets of them, but that's why we buy ones that are worth it, right? Cinder Swarm is a great scroll, sustained force movement and damage. That sustained force movement is really good. Fly, absolutely get a scroll of fly. Sometimes you just need the power to fly, you know what I mean? You'll be happy to have it when you do. Mountain Resilience is a great pre-combat buff. If you know a fight is coming, you can slap this bad boy onto someone and be right as rain, or even better for the especially bougie of us out there. Pick up 4 copies of Mountain Resilience and cast it on everybody before the fight because you already know it's coming. Slaps us onto everyone. We all have physical resistance. That's nice. That's nice. And last, Stifling Stillness. Why are we bringing scrolls of this, you ask? Because it's busted good, that's why. We just want as many casts of this as we can. It's just that good. Now, for us damage lovers, remember that you can always upcast spells. So you can just cast a bigger lightning bolt or a bigger cave fangs if you don't want to use one of these given spells. But with that said, Cinder Swarm, we're going to bring that sustained damage and movement every round. It's just an upgrade. It's just good. High value when you cast this round 1 and just keep it running. Rust Cloud for your real cheese grater weapon. This is your big damage spell, but you want to lock them into it. So hey, keep moving them in. Use Cinder Swarm to move them back towards the cloud and have your team push them back in, for example. And Stifling Stillness, yeah, it's here. I know it's not a damage spell. It's just busted good, okay? It's just like the best 4th rank spell. That's all I got. And for us versatility lovers, what do we bring, right? Well, Elemental Gift is the king of strategy because it's so many mid-power buffs all at once. You get so many choices. There's so many ways to use this. It's so good. And again, if you are a sorcerer, definitely lock this one in because it covers a lot of ground for a single spell slot. Stifling Stillness, as we said, super good. You're taking that. And last, Heal, because, like, hey, don't forget we have this. We have great damage options at rank 3 that are still competitive by levels 7 and 8, and healing is so good. We pack one of these bad boys, and you're gonna find a valuable use for this, 100%. Now, as we level up, as we hit the high ranks, level 13, you're not really using rank 4 spells anymore, especially not for damage. So what do we take? Well, at this point, Airlift is kind of evergreen, this force mobility on enemies or team-wide mobility to reposition your friends, always good. Stifling Stillness has not fallen off at all because its group of debuffs are just as strong as when we started. And last, Zephyr Slip is such a good reaction. Zephyr Slip giving you an option to move away when an enemy moves next to you. That is so good. Just keep in mind at higher levels, lots and lots of bad guys have reach. They can hit more than adjacent to them. So Zephyr Slip does lose a little bit of value in that case, right? Because they aren't moving right next to you, so you might not be able to activate it against every type of enemy. So overall, rank 4 spells are pretty good, but rank 5 spells are, honestly, they're as big of a jump from rank 4 to 5 as it was from rank 2 to 3. Rank 5 spells are crazy. Primal spell list lovers are eating good, and let's get into this. We got so many options for damage here. Blinding Foam. Now, this is a weird one, which is why I'm going to point it out. It is uncommon, and it's Incapacitation, so you have to use it on enemies at your level or lower, at your best rank. Otherwise, it's not going to work, right? It targets armor class, and on a hit, does really good damage and blinds them. Blinded is brutal, and they have to spend actions to get rid of the blind. That's insanely strong. But what does targeting armor class mean on an incapacitation spell? To be frank, it's not clear. I interpret it as your armor class roll is now worse, so if you hit, it's a miss, and if you crit, it's a hit. But either way, you're not using this against higher level enemies, so it's uncommon. Ask your game master if it's even allowed at all. But I just wanted to point it out because it's such an unusual spell. With that said, we have so many good common options, such as Blazing Fisher. This is a line AoE on a reflex save that's damage plus prone. Hits a little less hard than an upcast lightning bolt, but getting prone on top of it is really nice. And we got Corrosive Muck. Oh, I love this spell. Corrosive Muck makes 4 small pools of deadly acid. Now, when I say deadly, this thing does huge damage every turn you start your turn in it, or touch it by moving into it on a reflex save. And it applies greater difficult terrain. This matters because greater difficult terrain is incredibly rare. If you're not familiar, it's difficult terrain squared. Instead of taking 2 tiles of movement to move 1 square, you now move 4 tiles of movement to move 1 square. That's brutal. That's 20 foot of movement to move once. And if you have 35 feet of movement, too bad it rounds down. You still only move once. That's brutal. You combine this with any other control spells from your fellow caster. Oh man, it's bad. Or if you grapple an enemy in the ooze. Oh, jeez, dude. All right. We got Elemental Breath, which is also a nice one. So this you can either cast quickly for a random damage type or spend all 3 actions to choose your damage type and the associated debuff on a reflex save. So on a Druid, I wouldn't take this. But on a Sorcerer, I think Elemental Breath has a lot of value. Because, much like Elemental Gift, it's many types of damage on a single spell slot, and that's nice to have. This means you get a lot of options. You can hit all sorts of weaknesses and avoid resistances while still using only a single spell. But if we just want raw power, we go with Howling Blizzard. This is your classic Cone of Cold, only now it has a burst option as well. Big AoE, good damage, and it creates difficult terrain. What's not to love? And there are so many damage spells that I couldn't even fit them all on one slide. And I'll admit, I totally forgot about this one, and I recorded this afterwards. Oops. But Geyser is a remarkably good damage spell. This is kind of your burst equivalent to Blazing Fisher. Blazing Fisher hits a line. This hits a 10-foot radius burst. Well, 50-foot tall cylinder, but it does decent damage and on a failed saving throw pushes your enemies, pushes everyone hit 20 feet in the air, and then they fall. This is very notable because that means they're taking 10 points of falling damage and going prone because any amount of falling damage knocks you prone. So it's not necessarily better than Blazing Fisher, it's just a preference. Do you want a line or do you want a burst? When it comes to buffs, they exist, but like I said, rank 4 and below is where all the good buffs are. We have a couple options. We have Flame Dancer. This has some funny effects, like use performance to demoralize, which like, okay, sure. But its main purpose is it buffs unarmed damage. This is really specific, but if you have a monk or an animal barbarian in the party, that extra fire damage on punch, that's going to add up pretty fast, so that is pretty good. And we have Healing Well, which creates a zone of healing that can be touched to heal up to 5 times. This is... it's tough, right? You carry a scroll of this and you're in out of combat and you have a time pressure. So you're like, oh, we don't have a lot of time to sit around and do medicine and heal. This is a really good one to drop. It's more health efficient than casting the heal spell. But like, it's kind of hard to justify over just taking a rank 5 heal, which is better in combat because it doesn't take a ton of actions. And we have control. This is why rank 5 is so good. The control spells here are insane. Strategist players are eating good. We have Corrosive Muck, like we said, huge damage and greater difficult terrain. We have Freezing Rain, equally as good. This is a reflex saving throw burst that is sustained. So you move it, you move the AoE every round, which creates moving difficult terrain. And the first time you sustain it, so not on the original cast, but every turn after, we get moving damage on a reflex save, that applies slowed 1 if they fail. That's crazy. Repeatable, spammable, multi-target slowed 1 with a little damage on top. If you fight a crowd of enemies, or even just 2 or 3, that's so much value. That's super good. And last, we got Wall of Stone. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. If you've ever seen this thing in action, you know what we're talking about. The best wall spell, arguably the most broken spell in the game. And I mean broken, it is busted. It is busted strong. So Wall of Stone allows you to make a bendable, movable wall of solid granite. So unlike other wall spells, which are flat, you can bend it, you can seal it, you can create a square that traps people and force them to cut their way out. You can create a bridge with it, which means it can go flat. That means you can make roofs with it as well. It's got all of these situations, all of these uses. You can cut enemy groups in half and then take out the side close to you. You can isolate a boss from his goons and take out the goons. This thing always has uses. Wall of Stone always has uses, and it's always good. Arguably to the point that it's too good and has too many uses. So if you get bored of using Wall of Stone, switch to Wall of Ice. It's still good. Wall of Ice is still really good. It's just not as good as Wall of Stone. And by rank 5, really hitting the end of cheap, spammable scrolls and items I'd recommend, right? Corrosive Muck and Freezing Rain are very much worth scrolls of because the control and damage is just so good on them. But Wall of Stone, wands, and scrolls of it are worth it, not because it's good to have. It's not synergistic. Wall of Stone takes 3 actions to cast. It's very awkward to use a scroll of it in combat, but because having more casts of Wall of Stone will win you fights. It's just so fundamentally powerful that I have to recommend getting as many copies as you can. And yeah, if you feel like generic, I just want to not use Wall of Stone, that's totally fine. Don't use it. It's just that good. Honestly, it might be too good, right? Talk to the party if they're getting tired of Wall of Stone trivializing fights, because it can totally do that. Now, how do we blast? How do we do big numbers? Am I right? For us blasters out there, this is going to be a blast from the past. I recommend Dehydrate at rank 5. You remember Dehydrate, that rank 1 spell that didn't look that good? Well, by rank 5, the burst has increased to a 15-foot burst, so way easier to hit bunches of enemies with, and it's doing like 76 persistent fire. Huge persistent fire. Remember, for persistent damage, we can assume it's getting 2 or 3 hits off, an average of 3 hits across a persistent damage lifetime. That's 21d6 damage. 21d6. Holy crap. Even if it only triggers twice, that's 14d6. That's still slightly better than bursting out a Howling Blizzard, which I still recommend because it's still really good stuff. Difficult terrain plus damage and a massive AoE. And last, yeah, Wall of Stone, just take it. It's just that good. And for a strategist in the crowd, you already saw this one coming, didn't you? That's right. Corrosive Muck, Freezing Rain, and Wall of Stone. The crowd control combo. We got huge damage on Corrosive Muck. We got spammable slow on Freezing Rain. And we got the strongest wall in the game in Wall of Stone. You might not be putting out huge numbers. Well, actually, you might be. Corrosive Muck hits really, really hard. These are just really good spells in general use. You really can't go wrong here. Now, if you do hit high levels, though, so like level 15 or above, then yeah, you don't want damage, so bring heal, because more healing is always good. It won't be the biggest heal you've ever seen, but hey, more heal spells. When things hit the fan, when situations are bad, you can't have too many mid-level heal spells on you. Beyond that, Freezing Rain and Wall of Stone never really go out of fashion. Spammable Slowed 1 is crazy good, and Wall of Stone is just that busted. It really, really is. There we go. Wow, I mean, I am compressing these pretty fast. I'm a little impressed, I'm not gonna lie. There you go, rank 4 and 5 spells, practical ways to use them, and solid loadouts for general situations. Have I missed any? Are there any that you love and enjoy using? Let me know, okay? Let me know in the comments, and be sure and catch the rest of the spells and everything else we got cooking by subscribing to us. Click that subscribe at Lord Generic RPG, and I'll see you for rank 7, right? You're gonna show up. I mean, you've seen the rest. So let's go ahead and see some of those flashy big boy blasts that we get in the premier damage spell list.